Finally, let's go over the last question. In the last question, we should also draw a centered triangle, but this time the triangle should be upside down. So here is a representation of that kind of a triangle. It's centered and it's upside down, and the height is h, and I denoted the triangle as follows. So before we go into the details of the problem, do you realize that this triangle is really similar to the triangle that we drew in the previous question? So this was the triangle in the previous question. Again, with height of h. And if we try to catch a pattern that we can apply on this problem, then we don't need to compute again the number of spaces and the number of O's again for this triangle also. So let's remember the solution for that normal triangle. Let's remember the for loop that we wrote for I dx in range h, meaning that we're taking each row one by one. So what does this range give me? Actually depend on the height. It gives me 0, 1, and goes up until h minus 1, and it cannot take h because this is the stop value and it's excluded. You know all that stuff. And I know that for the last value h minus 1, I have this line, right? And for my current problem, I have this line not at the end but at the beginning. So what if I wrote such a for loop that gives me h minus 1 in the first place and then decreases so that the last value becomes 0. So if I manage to write a for loop that will give me that range, then I will be done, since here is the pattern that I catch. It works fine for my current problem. So the first value that I need to get is h minus 1. So for the current problem, I'm also writing my for loop for I dx in range. So what's my start value? My start value is h minus 1, right? Because this is the interval that I need to get each value one by one. So the first value is h minus 1. So where should I go? Up until 0, but I should include 0. So instead of writing 0 here, I'm writing minus 1. Since if I write 0, then the last element that I can get will be 1, and I can't get the element 0, and it will be a logic error for me. So instead of writing 0, I'm writing minus 1 to get the 0th index, and my step size would be minus 1. It's kind of obvious because here I have minus 1, here I have minus 2, here I have minus 3, and so on. At the end, it becomes 0. So this is my new for loop that instead of going in this direction, but goes in this direction. So all the print statements are same for this for loop, and since we catched a pattern, we don't compute anything, but rather we apply the catch pattern and make some differences and make some updates on this for loop. And in the next video, we'll be implementing this new algorithm, the new version of for loop, and this will be our last video.